Hi, everyone. My name is Juliana, and today we're going to be doing something very exciting. We're going to build a template together where we're transferring our account from Spotify to Tidal. So to give you some context, my name is Juliana. I'm DevRel at NodeOps, and today we're going to be building on top of NodeOps, which is a deep-in infrastructure. Deep-in infrastructure means that you are, let me jump into it, actually. Let me share my screen. I don't think my screen is changing. So let me see. Okay, all right. Well, if it's not changing, I'll talk through our agenda first. So we're going to be building a template together. What that means is the plan is to take some open source code, which I'll share with you, and then identify how to turn that code into a template. So it could be code that you created yourself or it has already existed, but there's some limitations. So we'll also go through how to read license, looking at open source code and see if is this legal for you to turn it into a monetized template. And then we'll also go into Dockerizing that template and then putting it onto the NodeOps marketplace. So let me figure out how to share my screen. Is this working? Yeah. Okay, you can hear me, but also can you see my screen? Hi, Gnode. By the way, if anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to place it. And your comments will show up on the side of the screen and I'll answer them as they come in. Also, this is going to be a longer live stream. It's going to be about an hour long. We'll do as much as we can, and if we don't fit everything in, we'll continue next week. But right now, let me figure out why my screen is not showing. Okay, that works. Okay, so now we're back into NodeOps. Let's talk about the plan. So we're building a project, and why do we want to build this project and place it on the template marketplace? Vibe coded if you have to become your own founder, and then you can host it on NodeOps, and it becomes a template that you can share an application on a marketplace. It's scalable, it's marketable, and you get immediate revenue share for a pretty fair price, in my opinion. So I think it's freaking awesome. So a lot of times, we have an idea, we build something, and hey, Tweezer, yes, you can see my screen now, yeah? All right, if anybody can't or cannot hear me or don't understand me, let me know. And just, yeah. So I would love to stream your comments. Does that work? All right. Okay, so we're building on NodeOps Marketplace. Now we're gonna go through how to turn your app from an idea, we'll start from the idea stage, okay, into an execution stage, and then place it onto the NodeOps Marketplace. So I'm actually gonna type all the steps out, starting from step 1. So we'll go through this together. So remember, this is gonna be a long one. I'm streaming from New York, and today's pretty cold. I think it's like 52 degrees or something. I have a cup of coffee with me, and we're just gonna get started. So let's cozy in. So here's the plan. We're going to start with, let me make this bigger. We're going to start with the open source project. And this is called Spotify to Tidal. Now, all this open source project is a Python script. It's just a command line tool. So it doesn't have a front end. It's literally just a little bit of logic. Next, we're going to talk about the licensing. Are you allowed to monetize it? That's important. And then we're going to create a front end. We're actually going to vibe code this. And then we're going to obviously test it out. Then we're going to Dockerize it. Publicly. And then we're going to submit or put into the NodeOps marketplace. Okay. These are generally the steps we're going to go through. So let's get started. What happened to my screen? Okay, we're back. All right, let's get started. Starting with the open source project. Okay, so if you guys are looking at my screen, this is what I'm working with now. It is an open source project. If you can see it, it is mostly a Python script, and it's pretty simple. So why are we doing this? Why do we want to do Spotify to Tidal? Why did I pick this project? That's because Spotify is cool. Spotify and Tidal are very similar music streaming services, and Tidal is largely used for DJs. For a little bit of time in my life, I was DJing around the world. You know, I was traveling the world with my little DJ controller, and I would just offer my services to cafes, to clubs, to crypto events. And so I got the opportunity to DJ all over the world. Part of why I did that was because I wanted to make friends, and I thought I love music. So the software to DJ most of the time. Let me talk about this now, just to type it out. So Tidal is used by DJs because it is the only streaming service, as far as I know, that connects to Rekordbox and Serato. So Rekordbox, Serato are popular DJing software. So every time you see a DJ, you know, playing in the screen, you see the waves, you see the spinning things. That's Rekordbox. It's a type of software. So there's two ways to use that software. Is either you have like your music stored in a USB. A lot of the professional DJs do it, but for small time DJs like me, I use Tidal. So Tidal is kind of, in my opinion, better than Spotify. Spotify is more for like the regular streaming listener, you know. Tidal has music like, you know, like that is like less mainstream. You know, that's the word for it, less mainstream. Okay, so that's why we're moving over to Tidal. So this tool is useful for anybody who's looking to explore DJing. You want to be, you know, look at me. I've been a Spotify customer for like 10 years, you know. I have so many playlists. I have so many songs, you know. I'm not going to copy each and every song into Tidal. So we're going to automate that. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do it first via the command line, and then I'll show you how to turn this into like a marketable tool that we can place onto we can make money off of. That's the plan. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is let's copy this. Also, this is, even if you don't want to be a DJ, you're not interested in it, and you just want to like explore, you know, using a new streaming service, you can use this tool too. Okay, so let me bring you into my cursor. So I've already git cloned the project here. Like that. You know what? I'm going to clone it again. Sorry, I can't do things and talk at the same time, but I'll do the best I can. So right now we're in Cursor, and I'm using Cursor because it has a built-in AI. I actually pay for it, 20 bucks a month. And what I'm doing is I'm cloning it into a folder called Spot to Tidal. The reason I'm not using my old one is because I was already working on it and I want to start fresh for you. So I'm going to add the folder to my workspace. It's called Spot to Tidal. I just cloned this. And then just to clean it up, I'm going to remove my old folders. These are projects I was working on before. All right, so now we're starting off on a blank slate, totally fresh. And because it's a Python project, before we get into that, let me just talk about the code base. So the README is pretty straightforward. This is the setup. It wants you to set up a config.yaml, and then it also wants you to go to Spotify and create an app so you can get like the client ID and client secret. Then you copy that value into the config file, and that's pretty much it. You can run the command line from there. So it's super easy. Because it's a Python project, you want to create a virtual environment. Why does this keep doing that? All right. I love music lovers. Thank you, MJ. I think you're gonna love this tool. I love it. You know, every time I tell people about this tool, they're like, "Oh my God, you know, I didn't know you could do that." All right, so we're back to the code base. Python, we need to create a virtual environment. So Python 3, I'm using Python 3. If you're not, you're behind. And we're gonna create a virtual environment and then give it a name. Okay, cool. So what that's created is a hidden folder here where my virtual environment is. And to activate it, I think it is source, was it bin activate? Yeah, am I in? I think I'm in. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna install the dependencies. What is the command to do that again? All right, so now that we're here, this is live coding. This is nothing's prepared, or I kind of semi-prepared, but not everything's prepared. And I'm only human, so I'm gonna forget. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch over to my handy AI tab over here, and I'm gonna ask, you know, how do I set up this project? So what I have connected in my cursor is, I think I pay for Anthropic or something like that. It's what's actually happening in the back end when I pay for cursor. And what I'm trying to do is, let's see. Under context, I want to give it this folder, Spotify to title. So it knows this is the one I'm talking about. Most likely it already knows, but I'm just gonna ask. No, I'm not using VS Code. I'm actually using Cursor. The reason I use Cursor is because it has a built-in AI agent. No, I don't want to run this command line. Oh, okay, I have to pip install. All right. So I'm using VS Code. I'm using Cursor because it has a built-in AI agent, and it helps me code. Very truthfully, I'm pretty sure everybody is vibe coding right now. Most of the time, the code it generates is okay. I don't have the time to read through everything. And then I think, in my honest opinion, AI does create a lot of like issues. Um, so there are some guardrails I set in VS Code. So I have custom configurations. So the AI, for the most part, does not create more entropy and more errors for me to have to fix. So what AI likes to do is create like make up situations, make up values, and make up test uh, code. And you don't want to do that because it just creates more errors for it to get stuck on. Okay, cool. What does it want to do? Why does it want to list out my YAML? All right, I'm going to skip that. Let's go straight. Assuming right now I have all of the environment dependencies that I need, I'm going to go into and just follow these steps. So I'm going to update example config.yaml and rename this. Okay, now let's go into config.yaml. Line 1 to 6 is you setting up your Spotify configuration. So your client ID and your secret and your username. I'll show you how to do that. And then everything else you can kind of ignore. These are, you can read the comments. You comment this out if you want to like copy a specific playlist, or you want to copy only your liked playlist, whatever. So let's go ahead and get these values. Let's go to this link. Okay. So I just clicked that link. Let's see if I can place it here. And it took me to this page. So, oh, what is going on with my screen? Oh, Drewski asked, I'm confused. Does NodeOps have a VM? Yes, we do have a VM. We do have a virtual IDE that you can work from. I just think it's faster for me to work on my local environment right now. All right, coming back to Spotify for developers, this is just the docs page. To get to the actual page, you come to your username and dashboard, and then you're going to create an app. Click this button. I've already created one, Spotify to Tidal. So in here is where my client ID and my client secret is. And let's see, let me go through the process of creating an app. Click create an app, give your app a name, spot to Tidal. Okay. And then you're going to give it a redirect URL. Because we're working on a local environment, we can just set localhost 8000 or HTTP. How did I set this up before? Oh, okay. Okay. There. I'm just going to stick over here. All right, client ID, client secret. Here's your app name. I think I just wrote this as a description, and here's the callback URL. All right. I think that's all we need. Now we just copy these values into the config. I'm going to copy this client ID, bring it into cursor. And now in my config file, where is it? Config.yaml, under client ID, I'm just going to paste. I'm going to do the same thing to my secret. Copy and paste. And my username is Juliana Peace. Okay, and I think my callback URL matches. Let me double check. Yeah. You can also add multiple redirect URLs. I think I also had a localhost quadruple eights, and that worked too. Okay, welcome everybody who just joined. All right, let's get back to the code. All right, I think this looks pretty good to me. Now I think we can try and run this code. Okay, all my requirements have been loaded. Looks good. Okay, here is the command line for it. It's very simple. And so the way to use it is you just type in Spotify to title your and then dash dash URI, and then these string of numbers and letters points to the playlist that you want to copy. So let me show you where to get this URL. Okay, so let's go into my Spotify. Here's my Spotify. I have a ton of playlists. I think I have like 100 or something like this. All right, a lot. And the one I want to copy today is maybe disco funk soul. All right, I have about 18 songs in here. And also, if anybody wants to follow me on Spotify, my username is Juliana Peace. You totally should. I think I have a good taste in music. And come into the playlist you want to copy and click on the three dots over here. Come down to share and then click on one of these. You can either copy link to playlist or embed playlist. It's the same thing. Okay. If you do embed, it's going to give you a little snippet of code. All right. You're going to click show code down here. And then in this iframe, your playlist is actually, I can't copy it, but it's right here. It's the value right after playlist. It's that string of numbers and letters. That's the value that points to your playlist. Now, it doesn't have to be your playlist. You can copy someone else's playlist. It doesn't, everybody has, you can get this anywhere. You can even get this from the share URL. I'm going to go back and click the three dots, click share, copy link to playlist, and I have a link copied in. So now I'm going to, I don't know why this keeps jumping over. There. Okay. So I've copied this link and I'm going to paste it right here. Just like that, just like before. Right after the playlist slash, this is the URI of that playlist. So you just copy this value and bring it into the command line. Type in Spotify to title dash dash URI and then paste that value and then hit enter. Okay, so we see there's something happening here. It's taking my Spotify credentials and then redirecting me over to Tidal. So part of this is that you do need a Tidal account. Tidal is about the same cost as Spotify. If you're interested in it, totally sign up. I think there's like a 2-month free trial right now for like $1. My username is Juliana Peace. Yes. Go back to here. There. All right. So you do need a Tidal account. I'm going to sign into mine, which is NodeOps. And it says link my Tidal device. I'm going to hit continue and bam, I am linked. Now you see on the right here, there's something happening in the command line. And after I've loaded up this, it gives me a unique URL to Tidal. And then it started to load up Disco Funk Soul, my playlist. And then it said, no playlist found in Tidal, right? Because I haven't copied it yet, right? And then it goes in and it searches for all of the 18 tracks, right? And it gives me like 100%. Sometimes it doesn't find every song. It doesn't find every song. It'll tell you when it's missing a song. So it found all three. Now I'm going to take you into my title. I should have shown you this first, but here's my title. Here's my title account. And now I have Disco Funk Soul. Originally, when I started the stream, I only had one playlist, and now I have two. And these are the exact copies of every 18 songs that showed up. All right. So now we know the code base is working. Now let's jump into whether or not we can make money off of this code, right? Let me get out of here. Let's go back into the GitHub. So obviously I don't own this code base, this is somebody else's, but they have a license in here. And now it's important yet that you look at the license. The license here is the GNU or GNU, I think I've heard it pronounced GNU, a Federal General Public License. What I would do here, I'm not a lawyer, what I would do here is I would copy this license and then go into AI and ask, can I monetize it? Can I take this playlist and monetize it? Some licenses don't allow you to do this. You can only share and you cannot make money off of it. Some allow you to make money off of it only if you modify it. It's not a direct copy. But yeah, again, I'm not a lawyer and I would probably consult Grok to do this. So I would probably do like a new search and say, oops, how do I? Okay. I have an open source project with a license. Can I? Yeah, it already responded. It says, yeah, it permits commercial use. That's a good sign. Let's see, can I make money off of it? Oh, just FYI, I'm using Grok. No reason at all. I think I'm just used to using Grok. There's no preference. Yeah, it says I can make money off of this license, which means I can take this exact code base without changing it and then place it onto the NodeOps marketplace and then start marketing. Anytime someone uses that code base, let's say they're not technical or they didn't watch this live stream and they don't know or they don't have the time to do this. Maybe you're like a well-paid DJ or somebody, whatever, then they don't want to do it. But they found out about this, about your template or your tool, and they want to use it to copy and move their songs from Spotify to Tidal, then you're absolutely legally able to profit off of it. So now that we know that licensing is okay, you have to check. You have to check. Uh, Now let's go into monetizing it. So how do we do that? Let's go back into here, the plan. So we've gone through the open source project, Spotify to Tidal. We talked about why people use it, like what's the target audience. It's anybody who's moving from one service to another or they're aspiring DJs, you know. The next, we've also gone through licensing. So yes, you are allowed. I'm gonna type that in here. AGPL3 allows for commercial use. Awesome. Now, unfortunately, if we took this whole thing and Dockerized it, it's not going to be that easy to use or fun to use. You saw what we had to do to set it up. We had to set up a client ID, a client secret, put our username, and then had to go through the command line to run it. This isn't something most people can do. Even if you took it right now and Dockerized it, it wouldn't show up in a user-friendly way. So what we have to do next is to create a front end for it. This bit we can, for the most part, do inside of Cursor. Oops. If anybody has any questions, by the way, like, or you just joined the stream, you can type it into it. I can see every message across Twitter and YouTube. All right. Also, before we're at the exact halfway mark, before I continue, I'm just gonna do a quick plug Okay, we have an active hackathon going on. Top left, there's a QR code that goes into our Dora Hacks hackathon. There's about 2 days left to submit. There's $5,000 in prizes, and you can do exactly what I'm doing now. Turn your app into a template, qualify for the prize. There's a couple other things too, like, making a demo video that would make you stand out from the crowd. But for the most part, these are the steps. Okay, so that's the hackathon. Also, if you want to join our Discord channel, if there's any issues or things you want to build, we have a $3 million grant program, as well as we're also open to partnerships. Okay, cool. So I'm going to switch that back to the hackathon. If you guys need any URLs, just type it into the chat. I will see and I will respond. Okay, so it's 11:31 over here. We're at the halfway mark. Now let's create the front end for it. Let me start with a new. Let me stop this and start with something new. So, all right, prompt engineering is an art. It's like asking a genie what you want and then getting what you're looking for. I find that the more specific I am, the more likely I'm going to get what I want. So I have you ever looked at a front end and you knew immediately someone vibe coded this? That's because AI likes to like put things in a certain way and it just gets too complicated. So I want to make sure that the front end is simple. It has the minimum that I need it to get it working. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be functional. So I'm not going to guarantee that what I'm going to type in. Wait, is my face blocking my prompt? One second. How do I move this box? Okay. All right, that works. Wow, this is tiny. Let me make this bigger. Let's talk about what we need. So before we get into, just typing and asking for what we want, I want to make sure we have a plan. So in the front end, we need to capture the user's Spotify client ID, user's Spotify client secret, user's Spotify username. That was pretty much all we needed. And then the user has to be redirected to Tidal for the rest of it. I don't think we can get around that, as far as I know, because this is like OAuth stuff. But if we can get to that point, that should be okay. At the very least, after the user enters all of this and then hits like a sync button, let's see. Yeah, we need we need an input for the Spotify playlist URI that you want to copy. Okay, and then like a sync button. All right, after the user does all of these, ID, secret, username, URI, and clicks the sync button, it should redirect you to the Tidal URL. Is it OAuth URL? I'm just going to call it OAuth. It's not really, it kind of is. And then if it does not open, because sometimes it gets a little funky once you Dockerize something and you're hosting it onto like a deep in infrastructure, the URLs get a little bit funky. So I think there's a little bit of unknown here. Either it errors out because it's trying to redirect you from like some unknown like file directory, or like a catch fault, an easy way is just to show the URL. So I want to show the Tidal OAuth URL after. Okay, after sync. That's more or less the plan. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Anybody still here? Say hi. Am I talking to myself? All right, I'm gonna go into the prompt engineering and we're gonna go and ask for a front end. Hey, can you help me create a simple front end with the bare minimum? Minimum. Hi, Piru. Thank you. Glad I'm not alone here. Hey, Kagami. Speaking alone. Yep, Frank. I'm just alone in my room. Just somebody in New York. Can you help me create a simple front end with the bare minimum required to run this code? I need to, I like simple, like single. Like I'm picturing right now like a front end that's just like a bunch of input boxes and a sync button. You know, nothing fancy. Hey, Luke Song Teach GM everyone. Yeah. I wish there's a way to like just show everyone's messages and like kind of just go away on its own. Yeah. Hello, hello, ZH. Okay, I'm gonna say I need the user's Spotify client ID. Just gonna copy this. Okay. I need their user name and an input box for Spotify playlist URL. I need a sync button and let me just say the front end should be a single blank page with a few input boxes and a button. Oh, hey, Frank. Yeah, I know. I saw your dashboard. It looks really cool. How do I turn off this? Yeah. And then after the sync button, after the user clicks the sync button, there will be I know this is not the most exciting thing, watching me type out a prompt, but I feel the more time I spend here, the less headache I have in the future because I want to be specific about what I want. If you don't, AI kind of assumes what you want, and there's no guarantee that it does it right. Yeah, title author after. So after the user clicks the sync button, there will be a title auth URL. Now I want the front end to show the title OAuth URL on screen. Then user has a clickable link. Yeah, I think that might work. All right. After user goes to the title, that should authenticate them. Then the rest of the function should work. All right, let's see what happens. Let's hit enter. Oh wait, I didn't say anything about the front end. It might give me a few options of what framework I want to build it in. Let's see what it says. And it's off. Okay, let's see. I'm reading what it's thinking and if it understands what I'm asking it to do. Hmm. Okay, reviewing the code base to understand the sync flow and authentication, building a minimal front end. Yeah. Creating a minimal Flask front end. Okay, nice. So this time it has decided already for me already the front end framework to use, and it decided to use the Flask. Okay. Checking out project structure and creating the necessary files. Now it's making the front end. Okay, and then it's asking me to run this command. Why? Why is it asking me to do that? Okay, before we do anything, I'm just gonna. I thought I was gonna save state, but no, let's just run with it. Let's just try it. It's trying to create a directory called templates. Now it's creating the HTML front end. Installing Flask. Okay. Okay, whoa, that was too fast. Go back. Okay, made the Flask app. Removing reference to OAuth link. What does that mean? Let me bring this back down. Okay, if you guys have not used Tidal, or no, I'm sorry, Cursor before, let me expand this a little bit. All right. When I click into any of these files, it brings me to what it did. The green are changes that it has made. And so you can review what it's done, and you can go ahead and click keep. So it made a few different changes, right? And I think by default, if you didn't click keep, or you can keep and undo. If you didn't click anything and you just ran this code base right now, it assumes that you kept everything. But yeah, I was curious like what it was doing here. Why is it removing the reference to OAuth links? Why does my screen share keep jumping? If anybody knows why, or if you can Google it for me, thank you. This has never happened to me before. I mean, you can't hear? Can you hear me? Miska, testing, testing. Yeah, my mic is going through, so it may be just you. Hello, hello. Okay. If anybody can't hear me, type it in the chat. Let me know. All right, coming back to here. Are we going to get the recorded session? Yeah, all of this is live streamed, so you can go back, and where it's on YouTube, it's also on Twitter. You can actually go back and scrub through it right now to rewatch any portion of it. It's kind of like a long one, you know. We have what, 15 minutes left of the stream, and I guess in the future maybe I can go back and get this copy and cut it down so it's shorter. Uh, but yeah, for now you're in for the ride. Yeah, it's kind of like TiVo. I'm old. TiVo is when you could like record live TV and then you can kind of replay what you missed. So I'm on TiVo. Anyway, back to what we're doing here. So it's created a few files, app.py, templates. So I've got a front end in theory. and I can run it. It's on port 5000. I can run it with this command, python app.py. Yeah, people can hear me. Yeah, it's just you, Miska. The front end will collect Spotify credentials, then generate the title URL. And the front end includes a Spotify client field. All right. Fingers crossed, I hope this works. You know, that's always how it is. I'm going to click keep for everything. Hit review next file, click keep, and keep. Okay. It's pretty clean, very minimal. I like that it kept it very simple, like in just a single folder called templates and a single, HTML file. Like, and the CSS is all here too as well. So I like that. So far, so good. Now the real test is like, what the hell does it look like? So let's run it. Okay, looks like it's running. Now I'm gonna click on the link. Let me check out this front end. All right, not so bad. I like it. I like front ends like this. I hate when it's like too AI-y, All right, now is the real test. Let me copy let's see if we got a nice front end. The next step is to see if it's tied to the back end, if AI was smart enough to do that. I'm not gonna read the code. The fastest way to figure out if it works or not is literally just to test it. So I'm gonna copy my values over from config YAML, over. Client ID here, client secret here, username here, and then Spotify playlist URL. All right, so we saw I had 2 playlists. I'm gonna copy one more. Let's do, does anyone wanna pick which playlist you want me to copy? Anybody? Anybody? Funk. All right, thanks, Frank. Let's copy funk. Where is it? There it is. All right, here's my funk playlist. 71 songs, 4 hours. Copying the link. And then I'll paste it here. Now I only need the URI, so I only need this value after playlist /. So I'm gonna delete everything before it and everything after it, starting from this question mark. So that's it. I'm gonna copy this and place it over here for safekeeping, just in case this doesn't work. Okay, so you guys probably know about the developer tool, right? So it's like Command Option I on a Mac. And I'm gonna assume you guys don't know, and then show you that like when you're debugging an application, you wanna be watching the console to see if there's any errors that pop up. And then to see if your front end is communicating with the back end, you wanna click on Network. Okay. You wanna click on the Network tab over here. And so by default, this kind of looks a little intimidating, but this is what I use most of the time, is that you can either click all to see everything that's going through, all the protocols that's feeding into your application, but I usually just click fetch XHR, which is most of the post and get requests that come through it. If AI was correct in this front end, ideally, as soon as I click the sync button, it should run what we did before and copy this URL and redirect me to the title link, auth link, or at least show it on screen. So let's see. Here goes nothing. I'm clicking sync. I got a 200 status, as you can see here. It made a post request to this endpoint. All right, 5,000/sync, made a post request, and it came back 200. Now let's see what that means. Oh, look, there's my link right here. Let me click it. All right, it took me here where I'm going to sign in and authenticate myself. I'm going to click continue. And at this point, it should have copied. I don't want to cheat and look at the logs because an end user is not going to be able to look at your logs. The developer can, but now we're going to cross our fingers and see if my playlist funk is in Tidal. Nothing. It's not there. Let's go into the logs. All right, let's see what happened. Okay, nothing in my console in cursor. Let's check over here. Oh, thanks, Racer. Fire to you too. Server responded status of 404 not found. Oh, that's for the favicon. That's not important. Okay. So we've gotten up to this point. We don't know why it did not copy. Maybe it's a large playlist and it takes a little bit of time, but I'm trying to figure out where the logs would be. Let's follow. Okay, so if I can't see logs, what I would do next is to follow that endpoint. So to see if like it's even like properly wired over. So now we're going to go into a little bit of digging into the code. If anybody who's watching right now has an idea to debug why this didn't work, leave a comment. But this is what I would do. I would just look at the this post request. Why was it 200, which is a successful request? I also got to the Tidal link, OAuth link, and I successfully logged in. Then it should trigger copying things over now, but it didn't. Right? There's no funk playlist here. Click refresh, and nothing. Right. Also, if I play a song, will you hear it? Can you guys hear that? Nope. Okay. It'd be cool if I could share my music with you right now while we're debugging. Maybe for next time. Okay, so I have to look for where this function is. I'm gonna say, here's where I would ask AI rather than digging into the code right away. So I'm gonna say, after clicking the sync button, I was able to see the Tidal OAuth URL. Hey guys. Oh yeah, you can't hear my music. I wish I could though. I would love to share it with you guys. Actually, no, I can upload music, but I can't connect. Okay, back to debugging. I was able to see the Tidal OAuth URL. I successfully connected Tidal. Okay, wait, let me just say here. After clicking the sync button, I got a 200 post request. $200 for the endpoint. I was able to see the Tidal OAuth URL. I successfully connected Tidal. Then the playlist was not copied. What went wrong? And how can I see logs? Okay. So I treat AI generally as my companion or other coder, somebody who's just good at looking for things for me. And that helps me debug things. All right, let's see what it said. It said that it only generates the OAuth URL, but doesn't actually perform the sync. That's what happened. So it didn't tie the front end to the back end. Yeah, this is what happens with AI. It just doesn't like know if you don't say it specifically. So I should have said it should trigger the rest of the Python function in my original prompt. I swear to God, it's like talking to a genie, you know? It'd be so specific. All right, so now it's doing the fix to do the full implementation. Okay, it doesn't wait for me to complete authentication. So now it's doing a proper two-step process. All right, we're coming down to the last 4 minutes, and I do got to log off. But this will continue next week, next Wednesday. You guys can log on. We'll have another tweet about that. I'm going to do, it's trying to run the code now. The reason I hesitate, running the code in here is because I can do it myself. If AI does it, sometimes it stays within this bit, and okay, yeah. So I ran it, and it looks like it thinks it fixed it, but still, I'm gonna have to go in and make sure it's working. Okay, how to use authenticate Tidal with command line. Running this, seeing the logs. No, not all that helpful, but let's try it. If it thinks it fixed it. As a sanity check, I'm going to, let's see. I'm gonna shut down the server and run it again because I don't trust when AI runs something. It happens to me all the time when I'm like working with Docker containers and it says it restarted it, but the changes have not been applied. All right, so it's running on port 5000 over here. Let's go back to port 5000 and then refresh. And we're back to this page. Let's test it again. Okay. Client ID, client secret, username, and then grabbing the funk playlist URI. Let me double check again. Is it in Tidal? No, it's not there. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the network, clear it out, and hit sync. This time we're not getting a 200 response. We're getting a pending. What happened here? Oh, yep, it's back. All right. Oh, we got a 200 now. And it says successfully synced funk to Tidal. Let's see if it worked. Woo! There it is. That's my playlist in Tidal. Oh my God. Like right before 12, exactly at the 1 hour mark. All right, we didn't get to it this time, but the next step is to Dockerize this app, like just to take what we did here. Cursor, go back. All right, so now that we know this code base is working, the next step is, yeah, this is all done, is to Dockerize it. So this is pretty easy. You can ask AI, I'll go through it next week, but if you don't want to wait this long and try it out yourself, you can Dockerize it. Oh, thanks, Frank. I'm congratulating myself too. Live coding is very stressful. So yeah, we're gonna Dockerize it. You can ask AI to do this, absolutely. AI does like to overcomplicate it. So ask for a bare minimum Docker file. So you want to ask it to generate a Docker file, and then I have so many YouTube videos and live streams on how to do this, so you can just like, rewatch those if you don't know how to do it. But you're gonna run this command, like test it locally, then publish it as a public Docker container. And when you build it, make sure if you're aiming for deploying it on NodeOps, build it with AMD 64 architecture. So this is just a flag. You can follow my tutorials there. Then you're going to put it onto the NodeOps marketplace. Honestly, if you guys end up beating me to it by next week, I will hate you a little bit, but I don't blame you. If this ends up on the NodeOps marketplace before next week, you could just publish it. This is what you would submit Docker to. Oh, it's 1201. Submit Docker to NodeOps marketplace, and with like a thumbnail, name of your app, description, demo video, and for the fun of it, you can also apply to our hackathon. So we have 2 hackathons going on. Oh my God, you can't even see what I'm typing. All right, we have 2 hackathons going on. We have the Dora Hacks hackathon. This is $5,000 in prizes, and there are 5 slots. We also have an AWS Q bounty, which is about, I can't remember, it was 600 or 1,000 US dollars. So there's nothing stopping you from taking the same project and applying to both. Like, it's not out of the rules. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna log off here, and one more time, I'm gonna say, if you want to join our Discord channel, here is our Discord code, top left over here. Go back to my screen. Thank you so much for joining me for this live coding session. It was fun. It was cozy. I hope you enjoyed watching me live code and stress out a little bit, and maybe you learned a little bit of something. So yeah, see you next time, and join our Discord if you want to participate in anything. And also follow our Twitter. We're always tweeting new stuff, new partnerships, new grants, anything that's going on. Okay, well, that's it. Bye.